Hey now, welcome back to the Deadology podcast from Pencil Hill Studio, New Paltz, New York. I'm your host, Howard Weiner. This is season 4, episode 13 of the Deadology podcast. Today is June 16th, 2026. And just hearing that June 16th reminds me that I was in Music Mountain. I was not in Music Mountain. I was in South Fallsburg, New York at the Music Mountain venue, Jerry Garcia Band, one of the most iconic shows 44 years ago today. I did a whole podcast on that. You can look it up in the Deadology files. But today we're going to look at the Boston Music Hall 1976, June 11th, 76. So these Boston Music Hall shows were the first shows on the East Coast in a while. The great anticipation for them. The Grateful Dead back on the East Coast after their hiatus from touring. And I chose this June 11th show. I thought it was the most interesting of the three shows. But before we get into all that, I got to pay tribute to the New York Knicks. It's going to sound like first take here for about 5 minutes or so. But yeah. The New York Knicks won their first world championship in 53 years. And I wouldn't call myself a diehard Knicks fan. I don't watch games during the season. Occasionally I watch a game during the season. I follow them. But during the playoffs, I'm all in. I watch every game start to finish. And what a run it was, man. They won 15 out of 16 games in the playoffs against great teams. To win their third world championship, first in 53 years. Next year, they won't win 15 out of 16 games against the four worst teams in the league. So what they did was just completely mind-boggling. But think back to 1973. Some of you weren't born yet, but I was 9 years old in 73. I was a Knicks fan. But basketball was different. It was like the number 3 sport behind baseball and football. When they had an NBA Finals, it wasn't even primetime television. It was just, I think the last time the Knicks won the championship, they won it in LA, and it started like 10 o'clock East Coast time or something like that. Anyway, I was 9 years old, so I wasn't allowed to watch it even if it was on TV. I remember that championship. I watched a couple of games of the Knicks that year, and most of my memories of it come through reading Sports Illustrated. I used to weekly read that Sports Illustrated, and man, 1973 was a time where you didn't have access to everything. It was pretty cool back then. So Sports Illustrated was a big deal. The weekly Sports Illustrated coming in, and so 53 years, long time. But this year was total destiny for the Knicks. You just look at after they beat Atlanta. They were either going to play Boston or Philly. Boston was the better team. I definitely feared Boston. So what does Philly do? They pull the upset. They win in Boston, Game 7. So the Knicks get the easier opponent. And they take advantage of it, and they sweep the Sixers. Same thing happens next series. Cleveland, Detroit. Detroit's the better team. They were killing the Knicks during the season. Cleveland beats Detroit in Detroit, Game 7. And once again, the Knicks take advantage of that. They sweep Cleveland. That's what you do when you're a team of destiny and you get the breaks. You take advantage of it. So every series, they were getting the lesser opponent, and they were getting the more tired opponent as they were well rested. Unbelievably, the same thing happens again. Oklahoma City, San Antonio. Oklahoma City's the defending champions. I want San Antonio to win. But Oklahoma City has a 3-2 lead. San Antonio comes back and wins the last 2 games, the last one in Oklahoma City. So all 3 times the lesser team beat the favored team on their home court, which is ridiculous. I don't think that's ever, I believe that's never happened before. And the Knicks took advantage of it again. Spurs are a great team, Wemby, all that. But hey, destiny, when destiny is shining your way, you just got to take advantage of it. So when it was 2-1, the Knicks were leading 2-1. The Spurs took a 29-point lead, in Game 4, and it looked like they were about to tie up the series and wipe away all this destiny nonsense. But the Knicks came back and completed the biggest comeback in the history of the NBA in the finals, erased a 29-point deficit, and it took a miracle for it to come through. They were losing by 1 point, and then Brunson hauled up a shot. OG Anunoby made this miraculous tip in, and they won. So instead of being 2-2 and the Spurs taking all the momentum, they were up 3-1, and everybody in the world knew the Knicks were going to be the champions. It was destiny. So it took a miracle play to keep the destiny rolling, but hey, that's what happens. And my last thought on the Knicks, and then we're right back to the good old Grateful Dead, Jalen Brunson. This guy is an inspiration. Anything anyone does, whether it's athletics, music, if you apply yourself like Jalen Brunson, you're going to be a hero. This guy deserves more credit than any athlete I could think of for what he's done, man. He won a high school championship, a college championship. He was obviously a great player, but everybody skipped over him. He got drafted in the second round because he was too short, wasn't an elite athlete, not as fast as other basketball players, not as tall, not as strong, not this, not that. And no one believed in him, to be honest about it. He came because every team passed on him. So he comes to the Knicks. He becomes the leader. And he just becomes better every day. What he did in that final game where they beat the Spurs, he scored 45 points. And he's going up against Wemby, the great guards that the Spurs have, Castle and Fox, and they're going to stop him. He's unstoppable, and two reasons. He's the best basketball player there is, regardless if he can't jump or he is that great. As Kendrick Perkins likes to call him, Jalen Big Bada Brunson. Funny little nickname he gave him, but I think it sticks. And just the heart of the guy, man. Heart, determination, and undoubtedly now he has the skill. So, it's kind of cool that winning a championship in 2026 because you could linger in it for so long. With YouTube, I could watch every Knicks appearance on every TV channel, and there's just so much stuff on it, so you could really celebrate for numerous days. They got the parade on Thursday. Won't be going anywhere near that, but I will be enjoying it on TV. A couple more days of celebration to a miraculous run. Congratulations to the Knicks. And now back to the Grateful Dead. They're in the Boston Music Hall in 1976. I believe these were the first East Coast shows since the great Roosevelt Stadium show on August 6, 1974. And so much had changed. They're adding Mickey Hart back to the lineup, so now they're working with two drummers. They had the long break. You got the new songs from Blues for Allah, and just no wall of sound, and they're playing these small theaters where it must have been impossible to get tickets. You're going from Roosevelt Stadium, an outdoor 30,000, you could fit 30,000 in there, going to the Boston Music Hall. But there must have been so much anticipation for this tour. They went on to play the Beacon after the Boston Music Hall, a bunch of small venues. So they did the Boston Music Hall 4 nights, the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. The 12th was the first Boston Music Hall show I came across. It was in my early batch of tapes, maybe my first dozen or two, and I liked it a lot, but I also had a lot of 77 tapes, so it definitely wasn't as good as the 77 tapes, so I kind of held, I had a lesser opinion of the Boston Music Hall shows, which has definitely been erased, especially if you listen to the first one, which is on an official release. I think it was a road trip series from June 9th, where they played St. Stephen for the first time in 5 years and had a 17-minute Eyes of the World. Very cool show. I was going to do that show, but I listened to that a bunch of times, and I thought about the 11th, which is a show I've come to love. I said, hey, let me do the lesser known of the two shows, the June 11th one, and I do believe it's a better performance altogether. So we got a lot of great highlights, a lot of stuff to get to here. They open up with Might As Well, another one of their new tunes from, so besides the Blues for Allah, you got new tunes from Bobby's Kingfish, the Kingfish album, and also from Garcia Reflections, Might As Well being that. So very cool tune to open up with. Might As Well in the 80s became a cookie cutter set ender. but it was incredibly exciting in 1976 and 77. This is a very good version. They kept getting better as time went on. And that's one thing you can't hold against this show in judging it. These are all new songs, and they're going to get better, but they are performed magnificently here. Going second spot, Merle Haggard, tried and true country, phenomenal song, Mama Tried, in the second spot. A rollicking Tennessee Jet in the third spot, and you could just tell the Dead have it going here. Now they've been back. They did a couple shows out west. This is the third show, so they're 5 shows into their return, and I think they're really hitting their stride here. Cool Tennessee Jet. Then you get another new song, which has only been out there a couple times, Cassidy, but it just sounds, the song is so engaging. I could picture being in the audience at Boston Music Hall and just loving it. It's a great new tune. Unlike some of like when I was seeing the Dead and the songs from In the Dark and Built to Last, it took a while for those songs to catch on, but these songs are, just are great songs. I think I would have been into them right away hearing them, and even if I didn't know them. So you got Cassie in the fourth spot, Man and Candy, Candyman fifth. I really love the 80s versions of Candyman. I think that really resonates with Jerry. It's a perfect 80s song. But this is, anytime you hear Candyman, it's great. And Garcia's leads are just sparkling, man. There's something to the sound of his guitar in this night, which we're going to get to a highlight very quickly. So, the singing's on, but Jerry's got just a little extra juice on this night. Then we go back to some more country legends, courtesy of Bob Weir. We get Big River, Johnny Cash's Big River in the next spot. Pick up the pace, get things ready. Fire it up after Candyman. And then the seventh song, and this is going to be the highlight. The second set is where I'm really going to dig into here. But the big highlight, I think, of the first set here is the standalone Scarlet Begonias. And just a great sounding version. Donna, Jerry singing beautifully. And then you get to that nice long outro. Donna does her scat singing. Garcia's cooking right away. And then something kind of unusual happens. It hits almost like a middle part where Donna does some more scat singing. And this enables Jerry to go off in a different direction. And here we see the future, Jerry the scuba diver, because these guitar leads just snorkel along. Just some incredible playing, one of the best standalone Scarlet Begonias. So let's jump right into that. My friends, that's a brilliant Begonias jam. The band takes it like in so many directions, and especially when they hit the middle part, when Donna does that little scat singing, and then Jerry goes for the scuba mask and kind of snorkels along at the end. Tremendous stuff from the Grateful Dead in the Boston Music Hall. An amazing little venue. I seen Bob Dylan in there. The Grateful Dead were in there before my time, but hard to imagine how exciting it must have been. You know, the last time the Grateful Dead were on the East Coast was in August of '74, and here they are returning in these little theaters. First stop, Boston Music Hall for 4 shows. So yeah, everything's kicking, man. This is the fifth show of the tour, and the band's really kind of hitting their stride here. So after Begonias, we got Looks Like Rain, and I've heard this song like so much at shows through the years that the one thing I really kind of hone in on with this is the Garcia's guitar work, and on this version, it's just money, man. Garcia's all over this Looks Like Rain, and the singing between Bobby and Donna's good. This is quite a good version, definitely much better than the average Looks Like Rain, and I can't wait to get this second set here, so I'm going to kind of zip through the end of the first set. We got 5 songs left. Must Have Been the Roses, another beautiful version. Another thing about when they came back in '76 with the 2 drummers, there was definitely a noticeable change in tempo. And it was an odd change too, because the slower songs seemed to get a little slower and the faster songs seemed to get a little faster. So it didn't work in the same direction. It was definitely a little adjustment period, but man, these '76 shows are they keep going up in stature, in my opinion. So Must Have Been the Roses, always a great tune to catch. Then it's back to some new material. Lazy Lightning's Supplication off of the Kingfish album. This is probably the 5th or 6th time they're doing it. Real nice guitar work. You could tell the band's all psyched about this tune. And obviously, like any of the new songs from this period, the jams are going to get longer and more intense. And in a way, I think that's almost why 1976 gets a little bit of a bad rap as compared to '77, because most of these songs they expanded in 1977. They just sound better, which is kind of different from previous years. Like, let's say the new songs from Europe '72. When they were played in '73, it wasn't much of a difference. It's a slight difference. Except for the longer songs like Playing and Dark Star, but all the new tunes, Ramble on Rose, or Jack Straw, Sugaree, nothing was really extended beyond where it was in '72, but not the same for '76, '77 when you go from that transition. All these songs, the instrumentals got much longer and more intense, so '76 may have got a little bit of its bad rap just because '77 was so freaking great. But yeah, this is a tremendous year. Good Lazy Lightning Supplication, followed by Brown Eyed Women, kind of a short version, 1 round in the instrumental, but on this night everything is well sung. Ditto the Promised Land ender for the first set, but there's just a little magic, a little sparkle to Jerry's guitar in this night. It's completely noticeable. So that's the end of the first set, 13 songs. Now we go to set 2, and a bunch of musical highlights coming up. This is one of the best sets of 1976. I've just been listening to it over and over again. In fact, I was going to do this podcast about 4 days ago, but I was like, let me listen to that one more time just so I really get to know it. I think I was just loving listening to this thing. I kept wanting hearing it again and again. So they open up the second set with St. Stephen. And of course, the place is going nuts anytime they play St. Stephen. But 2 nights earlier in the Boston Music Hall, the Grateful Dead played it for the first time in 5 years. It had last been played on Halloween in Columbus, Ohio. That's obviously from the Dick's Picks Volume 2 series. One of the greatest sets of music you'll ever hear, that October 31st, '71. I also did a podcast on that particular show. But the St. Stephen when they first broke it out in the Boston Music Hall in '69. I kept listening to it. I heard it 4 or 5 times recently because I was going to do that show before I decided to do this the night two nights later, the June 11th show. It's an 11-minute version, over 11 minutes, as long as any St. Stephen. But I kept listening to it because it seemed to be missing something. It was like laid back. The instrumental obviously is good. We're talking about the professionals here, the Grateful Dead. But it was deliberately just a little too slow for my taste, and it never really developed into an outrageous jam. That's what I mean. St. Stephen is all about that psychedelic zap to your brain. Just the intensity they bring to the song, which seemed to be missing on that version. And it definitely gets a little bit better here. This is 2 minutes shorter, but yeah, definitely a better instrumental from Garcia and the band. But once again, they kind of work it up to a point where it fades a little bit, and then they bring it back. Some unusual, nice to hear different versions. Eventually, as the year went on, they got it back to where you would expect St. Stephen to be. But these are well thought out, longer versions. I like the St. Stephen a lot. I'm going to put this as the outro, so I'm going to play it in its entirety at the end of the podcast. And here the St. Stephen goes into Dancing in the Streets. It's an awesome transition. Just when they do, can you answer? Yes, I can. But what would be the answer to the answer man? Then they hop into Dancing in the Streets. Just sounds so freaking cool. So during this Dancing was another song that they put on the shelf for a little while, brought it back in '76, and both versions are awesome. The ones from 1970 are long, and just the improvisation's great. They do all those, a lot of thematic jams in there. Definitely more free-flowing improvisation. But the ones from 76 and 77, they come to this funky part at the end, kind of a Sly Stone themed jam at the very end. So it's got like a touch-off point, which I like a lot, and some of the best versions are from this. So it's like two different styles, but they both work. On this particular version, Donna and Bobby are kind of working out how to sing it. They're not sure who's the lead vocalist. It's kind of like a little thing that they're working out. Still sounds pretty cool, but there's no mistake in the jam. The band just has this down, and it's a phenomenal little instrumental here. And for our next musical highlight, let's enjoy that.
what you wear, just as long as you are there. Come on, every guy, grab a girl, everywhere around the world. Dancing, dancing, dancing in the street.
How did the Grateful Dead think of this stuff, man? That Sly Stone influenced riff at the end, just very inventive. And as they were jamming that out, man, you could just hear Phil Lesh having a great time playing these bass licks, almost comical. He's in there just digging the rhythm, having a great time. And as I was just listening to that, I was thinking more, not so much Deadheads in the Boston Music Hall as I was thinking about people dancing on the TV show, an episode of Soul Train. It's that funky and down to the nitty gritty. Don Cornelius and Soul Train, man, it was always a trip checking that out as a kid, not knowing, enjoying it, but not even knowing how great the music was on Soul Train. But yeah, so I think I tried tracking down where I thought that they may have got that from or kind of based it on. The funky rhythm at the end of Dancing in the Streets. And there's a Sly and the Family Stone album, one of the greatest ones, Stand. And they have the expanded CD where they have the outtakes on. And there's an outtake called My Brain, just an instrumental. And that sounds a little bit like that, the funky riff at the end. So if you look that up, it's Sly and the Family Stone, My Brain, from the album Stand, not on the original album, but on the outtakes, the expanded CD. That's probably the closest thing I could think of that sounds like that end to Dancing in the Streets. So they fade out on the drums to Dancing and jump into one of their masterpiece new songs, The Music Never Stopped. And by this time, most of the people probably in the audience already had Blues for Hours, so they're, even if they never saw Music Never Stopped live, they're probably familiar with it. Great tune. One of the nice things, even though you're not getting the longer jams that you would get from 1977, you could just hear the excitement in the band. They know they have a killer tune, and the actual song itself is being played better than ever. Just the attentive singing, Garcia's licks, all the energy is within the song. And actually, the instrumental on this is nice, even though it's obviously shorter than it would be a year later when it would be a blockbuster, show-stopping killer jam. But nonetheless, this was as good as they could play it the year before, man. And they did pretty great because the crowd goes nuts at the end. The music never stopped. You could tell the crowd's really into it tonight. The band's just got everything going. So next, that's a nice kind of dancing, get the crowd into it, 3-song opener. Next up, Ship of Fools, a little ballad from Jerry, but once again on this night, man, it's, Ship of Fools I usually wouldn't make a big deal out of. The singing's really good here, but Jerry's guitar solo just comes out and kind of grabs you, man. There's no way, even if you're listening to Ship of Fools, you might be spacing out a little, it's not like listening to Music Never Stopped or Dancing in the Streets. Obviously great tune, but when Jerry kicks into that solo, man, just, he'll pull you right in. It's a great solo, very noteworthy, Ship of Fools. And they just got the mojo going right here, man. Every song on this night at this point is just they're tearing it up as good as they can. Phenomenal versions. Then it's another new tune, which they just added to the lineup, Samson and Delilah. And I like these 76 Samsons a lot because I think 1977, they really hit the stride of what they should be. These 76 versions, I think they were definitely planning on doing more of a funky thing with it, making it like a, funky kind of tune. And it worked quite good. And that's what's enjoyable going back and listening to them because it's different from what Samson would be from 1977 through the end. It would be pretty much straight out rock and roll. And boy, did they start killing it in 77. Just phenomenal. They made the right choice. But it's a pleasure to go back and hear these 76 just for the change of sound. And they're great versions in their own right, all these 76 Samsons. As they come to the last solo, I think Jerry wanted to go a little more. It wasn't established as quite as much of his jam song as it would be. And, Bob cuts in, singing the final verses, the final verse and the final chorus. And you can just hear Jerry wailing away while he's doing that because he kind of got cut off. So yeah, it's just the Jerry was in a great mood. Every song counted on this night, man. He really nailed everything. And then next, we're going to our next musical highlight, Sugaree. And my God, this must have blown people away hearing this, especially people who have seen the Grateful Dead before, seeing them since 71, 72, 73. They're at all the Roosevelt Stadium shows. Sugaree's this song they love, great song. But all of a sudden, now it's starting to blossom into some kind of epic jam. And this just started in 1976. This might be the first great version of, as far as just instrumentals go. And you could just hear the band is just, they have the grip of something here. They know they're onto something epic, and it's just coming to life. And the way they're playing this is unbelievable. Second jam, really good. This third solo, which I'm going to play right now, unbelievable. Jerry is just cooking on this. And Keith comes in with this beautiful ending swipe to end the jam. Except Jerry disobeyed. Jerry's working on a different traffic system because he blew right through Keith's ending and extended it for like another half minute because he was just cooking so quickly on it. And this had to blow people away in Boston Music Hall. I don't think there's another Sugaree like this up to this point. This is the best under 10-minute Sugaree I've ever heard. So let's check out that amazing third instrumental as the Grateful Dead kind of paved the way for the future here for what would be one of their epic songs. 1977 moving forward, Sugaree.
Please forget you knew my name, my darling, Sugaree. Sing it, Sugaree. Just don't tell 'em you know me. Sing it, Sugaree. Just don't tell 'em no.
Jerry Garcia gone wild in the Boston Music Hall. Awesome little instrumental there. Jerry definitely latched onto something. This may actually be the instrumental that changed Sugaree, because you could just hear him blazing quickly, almost like you would hear from the Springfield 85 Sugaree or some of those great 77s. Just the incredible speed and intensity that just came to him in this instrumental. And as I listened to that, it's pretty obvious that the band wasn't ready for it. They weren't, they kind of saw where Garcia was going with it, but they weren't, up to par yet. And that would quickly, everybody would quickly figure out what they wanted to do with Sugaree. And it became just epic to die for Grateful Dead song, and I think this is really where it all starts. That Sugaree, the intense under 10-minute version on this night in the Boston Music Hall. And nice thing right now, we got about 4 or 5 more songs here. The best part of the show is coming after all this great music. The best part is coming right now. So after Sugaree, they break into Sugar Magnolia. And it's going to be a split up Sugar Magnolia where they pop a couple songs in between the Sunshine Daydream, which is always very cool to see. You would catch that more often on like a New Year's Eve kind of thing. And they did it a couple times in 76. But so they play Sugar Mag, and man, the band is just ripping this instrumental. Not the longest one, but not too much chord play. It's all Jerry just going off on this Sugar Mag. It's obviously going to be a highlight. And they don't go into the Sunshine Daydream. They go into Eyes of the World. And you can't put together, first off, the Eyes of the World is 6 minutes to start off that instrumental. And this highlight's going to be 9 minutes. So a smoking Sugar Mag into a ridiculous Eyes of the World, 6 of the best minutes you're going to hear in an Eyes of the World as the song opens. So put it together and you just have like a dream segment. No singing, just about 9-10 minutes of joyous, insane jamming from the Grateful Dead on 2 of their greatest songs. And Sugar Mag always worked good with Scarlet Begonias. And in fact, it was magic. But they would actually, it would be cool. They go into the intro with Scarlet, but you're moving into a song. Here with this Eyes of the World, just the 6-minute intro, it's unbelievable. So this Eyes of the World is similar to the one 2 nights earlier in Boston Music Hall. That's a 17-minute gem. I think they took about 8 minutes to get to the before they started singing. On that night, they did like a little chord change, where they kind of played in the middle of it. They went back to like the outro, or at least what used to be the outro in 1974 from Eyes of the World for a little bit before going back into it. And I thought that was the only version where they did it, but they do it on this version too. I think these are the only 2 versions where they're doing the typical Eyes opening, and then they switch into the ending chords as if it's 1974 and they're doing the outro. And they mess around with that for a couple of minutes before they go back to the Eyes of the World and go into the first verse. Very unusual. I think these are the only 2 versions. And it just sounds so great because they come flying in, and that kind of sets a little change of pace. And it's almost as if the Grateful Dead were consciously saying goodbye to the outro because they wouldn't play it anymore. The reimagined Eyes of the World would drop the long outro, which we all so loved from 73 and 74. But here, like these 2 versions, it's almost like they're saying goodbye to that outro with a little short tribute within the opening jam. You'll see, if you haven't heard this before, you'll see what I'm talking about. But this is 9-10 minutes of the most joyful, intense Grateful Dead music there is. So obviously, enjoy.
Sugar Magnolia, oh, ringing that bluebell. Walk under the sunlight. Now come on and sing it out here in the sunshine. Come on with me. She's got everything delightful. She's got everything I need. Reason to find in the sun. summer. Ain't got time to hold you. So pretty.
I mean, how great is that? The Grateful Dead in an iconic theater, and they're totally smoking, and Sugar Mag and Eyes back to back, Eyes of the World back to back, without any words, just 10 minutes of great instrumental music. Unbelievable, man. I love this, man. I'm so glad I did this show for the podcast just to hear this again. And I heard this a couple of years ago, this show, and it just kind of blew me away. I was like, I never knew this show before. Yeah, do a friend a favor and turn them on to that Sugar Mag Eyes of the World. Just it doesn't get better than that. So they go through Eyes of the World pretty hot the rest of the way. Obviously not as long as the 74 versions. We'd start getting used to like shorter versions, but still, what a great song, Eyes of the World. Wake up to find out that you are the eyes of the world. And keeping it Wake of the Flood. The next song, they go into Stellar Blue. It's a very subtle change at the end of Eyes of the World. And man, Jerry sings this soulfully. Man, it's awesome. And then at the end, there's like a medium-sized instrumental, just a absolutely gorgeous jam. Every song Jerry is on this night, man. Just a phenomenal night, as good as Jerry played start to finish in any set during 1976. I think this show's that good. You should take it. Everybody should listen to this, especially the second set, start to finish, man. Just unbelievable. So after Sugar Mag, Eyes, Stella, and then they close it out with Sunshine Daydream. And yeah, just totally triumphant. I mean, they don't have the wall sound with them. It's a couple of years down the road, but it's a triumphant return to the East Coast and Boston. And just if you were there, you had just have such a positive outlook. You know, like, man, the Grateful Dead are back, and they're going to be better than ever. And to many, 1977 is as good as it gets. Any of these years, 72 through 74 and 77. I mean, that's really peak Grateful Dead. Yeah, but just to see them return with this kind of power is pretty awesome. Another thing about the playing on this night, I can't go without giving credit to Keith Godchow, man. Wow. His playing is everything I played, you could just hear he's on the money. So 1976 to me sounds like just a great year through and through for Keith Godchow, and most of 77. I think 1978's the year where it really started to unravel, and I guess it unraveled quick, man, because all it took was one off year, and he was out of him and Donna were out of the band. Yeah, so there's an encore to this night, and once again, just stunning. Johnny B. Good. But I was listening to this a couple times. I think this is one of the hottest Johnny B. Goods I've ever heard. Jerry's going off. Keith does his thing. Sometimes Johnny B. Good, you feel like they're rushing through it a little. Not on this occasion, man. They're just savoring every second of the show. Awesome Johnny B. Good. So 5 stars for June 11th, 1976, Boston Music Hall. Man, it was a pleasure for me to listen to this 4 or 5 times leading up to doing this podcast. And hopefully you enjoy this and you take on the show in its entirety. Next week, it looks like we're going to have Doug Schmel back on the show. I just got to give him a call tomorrow and confer. It should be, podcast will be out in a week, 10 days, something like that. Tomorrow's his birthday. I'm going to wish Doug a happy birthday and secure him for the next podcast. Yeah, I think also as a birthday present, I'm going to turn him on to this show. I don't know if he knows about this one. Pretty awesome show. So yeah, awesome Boston Music Hall 4 nights. The Grateful Dead are back, and this is 3 years after the Knicks won their last championship in 1973, man. And yeah, this has been a fun podcast. Grateful Dead, New York Knicks are world champions. 2 more quick things about the Knicks, and then I'll give you that St. Stephen to close out the show. Yeah, so the the OG Anunoby night, Game 4. They're down by 29 points. I'm sitting here, I'm watching it, and for some reason I'm not giving up. I was like, it's never been done before, but this is destiny. There was something which I couldn't give up. I couldn't. There's no way I was turning the TV off. I was like, maybe they won't win, but I know they're going to be right back in this thing. And they did the impossible. Somehow they came back from 29 against a great team with Wemby and all those great young players, Castle, and Spurs are going to be a team to be reckoned with for a while. And Dylan Harper, got to shout that guy out. He's a great player, and his first name is Dylan, so we like that. But yeah, so the Anunoby thing, just a miracle. It's Jalen Brunson misses the shot, and OG just flies through the air from the rafters, through the heavens, tips in the ball. And it's insane because the way the Garden exploded. But this is really different than any sporting event I've ever seen in my life, because you have the funniest human beings that have ever walked the earth in the front row on this night, man. You got Jerry Seinfeld, Larry David, Chris Rock, Tracy Morgan, Jimmy Fallon, and then plenty more. I'm just like, and then you got Taylor Swift jumping up and down, going nuts with her friends. All this is on the court, on the front row. I've never seen anything like that in my life, and never seen the Garden that excited. So yeah, that was just a remarkable night of sports. One like I hadn't seen in probably since the Giants won one of their Super Bowls with, and of course I'm talking about the teams I'm rooting for. But yeah, just a unforgettable night, iconic New York night that's going to go down maybe as the greatest ever. It was that insane. Last thought on the Knicks. For the past couple of days, I've been walking around. I can't get one song out of my head. And that song, unfortunately, is Who Let the Dogs Out? And when they were doing the trophy presentation to the Knicks, Mike Brown, who I freaking love that guy. Great coach. He's a fun presence on the bench, which is what the Knicks needed after Thibodeau, who happened to be a great basketball coach, but he looked like he was about to commit suicide after every play. Just Mike Brown is such a positive presence. He gave that little extra whatever the Knicks needed, man. Maybe just a smile, and a friendly guy who was also obviously a smart basketball coach. But there was just something about his personality which helped push them over the top, where the players loved playing for him. And they're doing this trophy. All of a sudden, he starts doing Who Let the Dogs Out, like at the top of his lungs 7 times in a row. Freaking funny, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. This was during when they were handing the trophy over to the Knicks, and he did it again on the Jimmy Fallon show, a couple more rounds of it. I've been driving around town for a couple of days now, man. All I could get, Who Let the Dogs Out, unfortunately. But then I think of Mike Brown, and I laugh, man. He's a hell of a coach, man. God bless all those New York Knicks. They made so many people happy, and yeah. Thanks for joining us this week on the Deadology podcast. If you want to reach out to me, catfishgarcia82 at yahoo.com. Website, tangledupintunes.com. All my books are available there, also on Amazon. And we're going to give you the St. Stephen, which started set 2 of this show from the Boston Music Hall. Peace out.
The people all complain. heals. One man gathers what another man spills. got to calling it home.